Kylen Schulte, 24, was depressed and recovering from an abusive relationship when her Sean Paul convinced her to move with him from Montana to Moab, Utah in 2019. She credited this move with saving her life. Kylen's aunt Bridget Calvert describes Kylen as a free spirit that lived for the joy in her heart, not the hatred in the world, but Kylen's life already been marred by tragedy. In 2015, her 15-year-old brother Mackie, was accidentally shot to death in Billings, Montana by his close friend Seth Culver, 17. 2:30 a.m. on May 15, Macon knocked on Culver's bedroom window. Trying to wake Culver, panicked and fired a single shot through the window. The death was judged to a justifiable homicide. The Schulte family supported their son's killer, who was said to devastated. Schulte's mother Valerie said the shooting was clearly an accident. You can't your emotions get away from what's prudent and lawful. Kylen's father Sean Paul Culver at Macon's funeral and sent him a message urging him not to throw his life out of guilt. Mackie loved you. Be strong as you can, study and do push-ups. Sean Paul and Kylen were on a hike in 2019 when they met Crystal Turner, 38, referred to as Crystal Beck. Though 14 years older and a foot shorter than Kylen, the two bonded over their love of the outdoors. Soon, love blossomed. On April 20, 2021, they in a treehouse in Crystal's home state of Arkansas. By August, they were living in their van in the La Salle Mountains in Utah, a popular tourist location near the Arches National. Kylen worked at the Moonflower Community Cooperative in Moab, where she was for her work ethic. Crystal worked at McDonald's, but she was planning to start anew at Trailhead Public House across the street from the Moonflower. By all accounts, they well liked, in love and had a good life together. Their love just shined bright. Sean Paul, you couldn't help but look at them and go, wow, what's going on with these two? Tall, young and beautiful, one short and a little bit older, leathered up and toughened. One cares about flowers and butterflies and the other cares about Harleys and medium stakes. Pictures, video of the couple. Link last sighting. Both victims were last seen alive on August 13, 2021, at a bar called Woody's Tavern 9:30 p.m. No one approached them or followed them out of the bar according to. They are also captured in security footage, in which they appear relaxed, talking and with a female friend before returning to the table where they were sitting with a small. However, Kylen told friends at this meeting that a creepy man had been lurking close their campsite and harassing them. To other friends, Kylen texted a tongue-in-cheek that if something happened to them, they were murdered by this creepy man. Bridget confirmed this. They said they were going to pack up and move their campsite, that he's still creeping him out. A friend of the couple, Kayla Borza, who was one of the last to see the two women alive, said, "We were just having a great time, having a couple, and all they said was there was a creep staying next to them. And that was it." Disappearance. The following day, Kylen and Crystal failed to turn up for work. On August 18, 2021, after couple had been out of contact for 3 days, local woman Cindy Sue Hunter received call from Sean Paul, who now lived back in Montana, asking for help locating Kylen, and he too had heard the creeper story. Cindy Sue drove around the area, growing worried. She was still on the phone with Sean Paul when she found Kylen's remains in a. Cindy Sue feared for her safety and fled the scene. Crystal's remains were discovered very close to Kylen's. Both women had multiple gunshot wounds on their backs, sides, chests. Police have stated that there was no sign of forcible sexual assault, but they were undressed from the waist down. One of the women was wearing a bra that had been up to expose her breasts. Investigation. The couple had 3 vehicles, a 1987 black Ford Econoline van, a silver Kia Sorento and Harley-Davidson. All 3 were accounted for, along with a camping tent and a pet shelter. Their rabbit Ruth was unharmed. The Harley-Davidson was still parked in. Inside the van was a journal full of newspaper clippings, notes, phone numbers, mail pay stubs. There was also a Bible, a damaged black Samsung Galaxy 8 and drug including an electronic scale, a glass weed pipe and a plastic container with cannabis. Nothing initially appeared to have been stolen. The first statement made by the Grand Sheriff's Office stated there was no current danger to the public. This was met with criticism. Locals thought this stance was motivated by tourism, as opposed to any facts in the case. Blood, shell casings, bullet fragments and video evidence from nearby properties were a tip mentioned firearms that were stolen just weeks before Kylen, Schulte and Crystal were murdered. One of those weapons is pretty unique and could match the unusual casings found at the scene of the crime. It's a silver-colored 9mm bullet. Sean Paul, it's a very specific ammo. 4 casings were also found, according to a search warrant the Grand County Sheriff's Office. An incident report from the Montezuma County office confirmed that a 9mm Turkish-made pistol was reported stolen, along with a shotgun and bolt-action hunting rifle. On August 19, police searched the couple's van, still parked at McDonald's. According to the search warrant, the vehicle was unlawfully acquired, and has been used or is for the purpose of being used to commit or conceal the commission or an offense, or of illegal conduct. Another search warrant revealed that investigators requested from AT&T regarding a specific phone number belonging to one or both of the victims, was never recovered. Recently, in March this year, a private investigator claimed that had obtained an audio recording from near the crime scene on which gunshots and can be heard. According to the PI, the audio was recorded at 11:35 a.m. on August 14, the morning after Kylen and Crystal were last seen alive at Woody's bar. Police admitted audio existed and that gunshots could be heard. They did not confirm screams. They the date but would not reveal the time. Suspect *hours before the bodies were found. A sheriff's deputy made a traffic stop of a car in Ohio license plate. This man behaved erratically enough to attract suspicion. He had unwanted advances towards women in the past, on one occasion presenting a red rose a cashier at the Moonflower Cooperative where Kylen worked. He said he'd only met once briefly and denied being involved in their deaths. The man said he often slept and provided the location. Authorities found 2 blankets and a jacket stained with that appeared to be blood. A forensic analysis determined that the evidence was to the murders. Police suspected that the man had untreated mental health issues. He later cleared and is no longer considered a suspect. Authorities have apparently several persons of interest, but the Grand County Sheriff's Office doesn't seem to have a suspect. The audio recordings may change this, however. Theories *, from least credible to most credible. They were killed by Brian Laundrie. Kylen and Crystal are often mentioned in reference another van life murder victim, Gabby Potito. On August 12, 2021, one day before Kylen and Crystal were last seen alive, Laundrie assaulted Potito in front of the Moonflower. Kylen and Crystal apparently witnessed this altercation, but another witness called 911. Officers the van near the entrance to Arches National Park and conducted a traffic stop. Laundrie later strangled Potito, but based on electronic transmission evidence, have determined that neither Potito nor Laundrie were involved in the murders. They were killed because of the shooting of Macon. Though it's another tragic that both Kylen and her brother Macon died due to gun violence, it's probably not all uncommon in the United States due to various factors. While I'm not completely that all was forgiven between the Schulte and Culver families despite their best, there's no evidence that connects the murders of Kylen and Crystal to Macon's. They were killed due to drugs. A phone belonging to one of the victims was missing. Electronic scale and pipe were recovered, along with a small amount of cannabis. There are also some pills found in the van, but they were mostly ibuprofen and amoxicillin. There's no evidence that they took harder drugs or were involved in any kind of serious. They were killed in a robbery gone wrong. Nothing is missing from any of their other than a cell phone. Kylen and Crystal's camp was off a remote side road. They were also shot mostly in the back, suggesting that they were running away and posed little threat to the killer. It's difficult to imagine a robber murdering 2 women. A phone that probably wasn't worth much, but it does happen and it can't be discounted due to the missing handset. They were killed by someone they knew. Kylen sent texts about the creeper and him in public. Maybe the women were killed by someone close to them who knew they'd be camping that night. The creeper would have been a convenient cover. Kylen previously in an abusive relationship with a man. I'm not sure if he was ruled out, but was years before the murders. Overall, there seems to be little known motive for this. They were killed in a homophobic attack. Kylen and Crystal were openly in a same-sex. The cleared suspect was probed about his feelings on gay people, so police have the possibility. The couple shared photos on Instagram using the tags #vanlife and which could have made him a target to a bigoted stranger. Again, no evidence to this, just a theory. They were killed by an opportunist stranger. They may have been chosen as victims on a random encounter or the remoteness of their campsite rather than their identity. Possible that they were observed at Woody's or elsewhere and trailed discreetly. At one, police said they think the suspect left the area following the murders, so probably isn't they were killed by the creeper. It isn't clear whether the suspect police interviewed in fact the creepy guy the victims reported to their friends. There was only ever evidence against the Moonflower employee with the Ohio plates. If this was the person feared, he's probably not the killer, just a creepy guy. If Kylen and Crystal encountered a different creepy guy, he is yet to be identified. The motive may have been sexual. No evidence of forcible sexual assault. Kylen had already overcome an abusive relationship, and the untimely death of her Crystal had likely endured struggles of her own. Despite this, they seem to have left an impression on those around them. It's tragic that they met such a horrible end, even tragic if their case is forgotten. We are asking that anyone that would have been in the Mesa area between the dates of August 13, August 14, and 15, contact our office anything they may have seen or heard, the sheriff's office has stated. Sean Paul is also for information regarding any vehicles seen coming off Forestry Road 4651 in the La Salle around the time of the murder. Sources: general articles. Link last sightings. Link victim backgrounds. Link Macon Schulte, Gabby Potito cases. Link suspect. Link. Thank you for such a fantastic, thorough write-up on this case. I've been following from the beginning, and I sincerely appreciate the effort put into research, especially Kylen's background. Is there no background or family information for Crystal? Without knowing anything about her, I definitely lean toward it being the creeper they talked about, but perhaps something in Crystal's past caught up to her. Thank you. I had the same thought about Crystal. There's an obituary linked for her that lists 3 children. Her father and several brothers are dead. I looked at the tributes and one says both Kylen and Crystal attended the graduation of Crystal's son before they died. Everyone seemed to like them. I also recall that Crystal posted something on Facebook along the lines of, "Smile while you still have teeth," which I found endearing because she herself was missing some teeth. Beyond that, nothing. She seemed like a real character though. They looked genuinely happy in their photos. I'm very invested in their story having researched this post. I really hope their killer or killers are caught and convicted soon. When reports say nothing was taken, missing, how do they know? Robbers don't leave receipts. I often think this too. Kylen's Aunt Bridget says they weren't materialistic, so I don't get the impression they had a lot of stuff to begin with. There are probably lots of people who've been in their van. People who socialized with them often enough to know most of their possessions. But a small amount of cash or drugs could easily go unnoticed. A connection to her brother's killing makes very little sense, since she is related to the victim and it sounds like her family has been incredibly magnanimous about it. It wouldn't have been revenge for the killing itself, since she's not related to the killer, and it doesn't sound like there has been any acrimony at all between the two families, let alone enough to prompt 2 murders. I also find it extremely difficult to believe that anyone is murdering anyone over what sounds like recreational quantities of weed. It's such a sad case. I think about all the times I've sent a similar text to a friend in a sort of joking tone. Like, if I disappear. There was a, insert description here. Guy following me when I got off the bus. There is a comment from Sean Paul about it not being an accident if you're shooting an unidentified person, and a statement from Culver's father about liberal BS. Culver's mother said she didn't think her son should have been charged at all, while Kylen's aunt mentioned gun negligence somewhere online. So it wasn't completely conflict-free, but overall, agreed, nothing to warrant such a brutal crime. Wait. Were the guns stolen from them or someone else? And what is the deal with the van being used in the commission of a crime? I don't know about the van warrant unfortunately, but the guns were stolen before the murders from a different location. The tip someone called in and possibly the casings connect these guns to the crime scene. The police may know more about these guns coming into the area and who they're connected to. Greater than the first statement made by the Grant County Sheriff's Office stated there was no current danger to the public. This has always bothered the hell out of me. Usually cops don't say this unless they're already pretty sure who the suspect is, and that the motive for murder was specific to only those victims, like a personal relationship or a grudge or something similar. For them to say just days after a bloody double murder with no clear motive or suspects that there is no current danger to the public makes no sense. Agreed. Perhaps because they encountered the suspect on the day they found the bodies, they had him in their sights early on and already made up their mind before the forensics and audio recording proved them wrong. He did seem like a good fit at the outset, but it's poor policing 101 to focus on a singular suspect or theory at the start. Makes no sense to assume that a creepy murderous guy who undressed his victims wasn't a threat to other women in any event. Edited to correct this. I had no idea they were in the same location as Gabby Potito and Brian Laundrie. I'm sure there is no connection, but what an odd coincidence. I knew their time in Moab had overlapped, but this is the first I'm hearing that Kylen and Crystal supposedly witnessed Brian's assault of Gabby. Where is this info coming from? I knew Kylen in high school and had no idea that this happened to her. What a tragedy, their poor family. I'm sorry if this post was the way you found out. Sounds like Kylen was an incredible person. It's heartbreaking. I'm just a random on the internet, but I really want justice for them. Humor, particularly dark humor, is a common way to communicate true concern without the risk of feeling silly afterwards, and without overtly showing fear. Listen to humor, particularly dark humor. It can be good for more than a laugh. Gavin de Becker, The Gift of Fear and Other Survival Signals That Protect Us from Violence. Why do you bring that up here? I'm sorry. Sleep deprived, and that's an interesting comment. Those text message jokes and comments about the creeper strike me as subconscious intuition, probably based off more observed facts and rational instinct than the victims were consciously aware of at the time. They sound like examples straight out of the book The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. An excellent read. No question that their guts were telling them to run for their lives. I still get creepy vibes reading this story after all the time passed from the Potito murder. The only thing missing was one cellphone. Maybe one of the victims took pictures of the attacker, was seen, and so the attacker had to take it. That seems possible. Or they were trying to call for help. The other phone was damaged, but I'm not sure if that definitely happened during the attack. I lean towards the creepy guy. I think their spidey senses were tingling and they were getting the vibes. Instincts. Just too late to get away, sadly. Thank you for this post. It's the most information I've found about this case. It just kinda disappeared from the news, but I've been wondering about it. Sad. They seemed like peaceful ladies. Thank you. I first heard about this case through Gabby Potito and I've been checking up on it ever since. I was also surprised to see how little coverage it's gotten compared to other murder cases. I have a few theories on why, so I'm glad to do anything I can to bring attention to it. I was just thinking about this case the other day. I figured after the Laundrie Potito case was solved that this case would be the next media spectacle, considering all the wild suspicion Laundrie had killed them. After they found Laundrie's body, I really thought people would turn their attention to Kylen and Crystal's case, but it seems like people don't talk about it much. Thanks for sharing, Op. Hopefully Kylen and Crystal will get justice soon. Though this might not mean anything, and I could be wrong, there's a detail that felt familiar to me. I'm from Appalachia, and I remember reading a story about a serial killer on the Blue Ridge Parkway some time back. He would target lesbian couples, and a couple women had been found with their bras pushed up to expose their breasts when their bodies had been found, just like one of the women you mentioned. I mean, what are the odds it's connected? But it definitely stuck out to me. Weird coincidence. Can you remember any names or find a link to post? I'm curious. Great write-up. I want more on that audio, that recorded shots and screams. Was it a ring on someone's door? Seems unlikely given the area. Or other security camera. I suppose a dashcam could pick it up. Thank you. Both the police and Sean Paul put out calls for drivers in the area with possible dashcam footage. Not sure how common it is for dashcams to record sound. Police also seized some video evidence from the surrounding houses at the start of the investigation. It may be that the footage doesn't show anything interesting, but the shots can be heard in the distance. It looks pretty remote in the footage, so I'm impressed they have anything at all. The descriptions of their injuries make me think it was a hate-motivated murder. And #X200B. I hope their killers will be found and punished according to the law. Greater than the descriptions of their injuries make me think it was a hate-motivated murder. So does the description of how they were found. No sign of sexual assault, but their clothing was pulled down or pulled aside to expose them. That seems like anger and an intent to humiliate, punish. Great write-up. I like to think that the man they suspected has truly been excluded, but based on what I have read, he does seem to be a strong contender. This leads me into who is this guy? Is it someone who knew Crystal from her old life? I have read reports of Crystal's past history, termination of parental rights, and I wonder if there was someone who could have tracked her down. As she worked at McDonald's, she wasn't living totally off the grid. She would have needed ID to get a bank account and pay, so sadly she could be traced. I'm not inferring she in any way deserved what happened or caused what happened, I'm just wondering if someone tracked her down. The court case with her children alleges CSA. Could that perpetrator be a suspect? Also listed was that she was a housekeeper for an 80-year-old man when she moved to Utah. Did he have family? Could they be angry with her about something? Could someone at that time have become infatuated with her? These poor women didn't deserve what happened to them. And I hope that the police actually really dig deep for answers. The old guy she lined with is a red flag for me. TBH, this looks more like hate crime. The undressing, nothing being disturbed or stolen, someone stalking him, and being openly gay. How does anybody know if drugs were stolen? No one could really account for that other than the both of them, unfortunately. Was them seeing the laundry altercation confirmed or just a theory? It seems far-fetched to assume he did it. Especially before Gabby's death. But also that is one hell of a coincidence. Sean Paul's private investigator says they did witness it. It's in the video in the first link near the top of the post. He was right about there being gunshot audio, so I'm inclined to believe him at this point. Others may know more that calls this into question though. I think it was a random psychopath, wrong place, wrong time. Jesus Christ, the Brian Laundrie conspiracy theorists are wild in here. Thank you for this. I so disagree that there's no danger to the public statement. Enrages me really. 2 women murdered for no reason. No clue who or why, and you say no danger. We don't even know why the killer killed him exactly. I also get so fed up with the FB, internet sleuths trying to fit Brian Laundrie into this case somehow. It was not him. That was a domestic abuser and a singular domestic murder. Point blank. Forensic psychology is where I'm headed, and no, Brian doesn't fit the profile. It was between him and Gabby, sadly. Being in the same area, maybe, potentially meeting briefly, does not equate to OMGGGGG. Brian took him out to. I'm just so sad that these two just started a life together and it was ripped so cruelly away. And the lack of attention on their case compared to others. Was it because they were a lesbian couple with an age difference? Because they weren't picture-perfect victims? Or not some young, perfect couple? They were beautiful, in love, starting a life together, and are so loved and missed. I'm angry for them. I check every day hoping they nailed someone already. Great write-up. Have also followed this case from the beginning. I think it was the creeper, and I also think it was opportunistic. I don't think this is his first offense either. I really hope this case gets solved. Edit to say Kylen's father did say on the Facebook group that they were both sexually assaulted, although police haven't confirmed that. What a solid write-up. Thanks. It's widely accepted in Moab they were killed in a homophobic attack by a local. We all know the local. Police won't do shit about it as retaliations for drugs and local raves they blame on queer community. Is that local a person who has been publicly identified or someone whose name hasn't been reported by the media? I'd love to know more if you're willing to share. Please DM me if you prefer.